All right, so this little video is just going to be about how to work with matrices to solve systems of equations within the TI-83 and the 84 calculators. So here we go. If you happen, as a disclaimer, if you happen to have the old TI-83, the one without a plus, without a silver, without anything, the button placements are ever so slightly different, but you can still work with it. These instructions will be very, very close. You just won't have to press the second key to get into the matrix menu. Here we go. I'm going to be looking off over here every now and then because I got a second screen. It's got all my notes on it. So here's our system of equations. All right. Step one, in order to use the matrices that we want to have solve our equations for us, we actually have to put this system into a matrix. And so a matrix is nothing more than an array. If we want to make this thing look a little different and throw it into matrix format, we just simply replace the brace with a set of brackets, and then all of the coefficients go in the exact same physical location, but the letters don't follow. Now, this only works if each column has one type of letter in it. So you can't have mixed variables. It's bad. Okay, so if I put in my coefficients, I have -6, a 1, and a -3. You have to put the ones in the matrices. So even though it says 1 and you assume the 1 to be there in the plus y, you have to put the 1 physically in the matrix, otherwise it doesn't know any better and it just puts a 0. So -8, 2, and 2 go in the bottom row. And now we have our matrix. Well, now that we have it in the form that we need it, we have to stick it in the calculator. So to do that, all we're going to do is we're going to go to our calculator, turn it on, and then we're going to hit the second matrix key. I already have a matrix in here, but yours may or may not. If it does, fantastic. If it doesn't, that's fantastic too, because we're going to make it anyway. So these are the different menus. One is names. The second one is math. These are all the things you do to the matrix. And then the third one is edit. This is actually where you throw the numbers into the matrix. So we want to go to edit, and then option number 1 is matrix A. You can choose any of the matrices down here. I'm just going to stick with A. So I press enter, and then I put in the size of my matrix. And you'll notice that my entries down here actually match my matrix because I've already done it. However, I would normally press 2, then enter, 3, then enter. It is a 2-row, 3-column matrix. The number of rows by the number of columns. If you're working in algebra, you're not actually in a linear algebra matrix theory class or matrix theory class or anything to do with higher level. If you're just in a regular old high school level or early college level algebra class, it's always going to be one more column than a row. Now, if you're starting to work with square matrices and multiplying and add, different rules apply. But by and large, you're going to be one more column than a row. All right, once we've got that, we go ahead and we put in our entries. And as we enter them, you'll notice that when I press the enter key, it advances to the next one to the right. And so when we go through here, it's going to continue to do such. 1, enter, -3. When I press enter on the -3, it'll advance to the second row, first column. And then it'll continue out until I get to the very end. And when I press enter on this last 2 in the last column of the last row, it won't move. Now, at this point, I highly encourage you to check your columns. You've done it by row now. Now go through it and check your columns to make sure they match up. So I have -3, 2, yep. 1, 2, yep. -6, -8, yep. Okay, good. It's the only check you get. You don't get to know if you're going to be right because the calculator does all the work. All right, once you're done here, don't touch anything else. This is bad. You can actually put other things within the matrix. So if you wanted to put, for instance, if you're going to go absolutely nuts and wanted to put the integral, a definite integral in the last entry, you could. It'll do it. So when this happens, we just press second quit. That quits us out of the matrix. Don't hit clear. Don't hit clear. Clear will erase that entry. All right? Make sure you have that last entry in there. Second quit. Then we want to do something to the matrix, so we're going to press second matrix again. That brings us back to the menus. Scroll over to math. Now in here, again, unless you are just into a higher level matrix theory class, this stuff just won't matter. None of it will. There's certainly, if you want to know what they are, you can go out to the web and you can find all kinds of videos on them. However, we're looking for a couple of different commands here. One is REF. I've noticed that books in the past that I've taught out of have mentioned REF. I personally don't like it because it's I don't know, it's like using your car to go to the store, but pushing your car out of the driveway without just starting it up and going. It doesn't make any sense. There's still work to be done when you use REF. It makes a triangular matrix instead of a fully reduced matrix. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to select option B for our REF. That's reduced row echelon form. The idea here is that along the main diagonal, it's going to have ones, or we hope, and then it's going to have zeros anywhere else in that square matrix. And then the last column, that augment, will have the answers. So we scroll down and press enter. The other option that we have is we could just simply press alpha and then the apps button to activate B, and that will select option B for us. Either one, doesn't matter. So once we press it, we come back to the home screen with RREF and an open set of parentheses. Because it's a function that we're calling, a function of the calculator, it will open up a set of parentheses. That way anything input or anything inside the set of parentheses will be its input. Now, some people will just say, okay, well now just call the name and press enter. You can. I have one additional step that I do on purpose. And so I need to call my matrix, and my matrix was letter A, so I go to second matrix. It's a lot of that command. And then I find it in the names, and I press enter, or I select it by its number. And now you'll notice it doesn't actually automatically close the parentheses. I'm going to close them. Because what I'm going to do next is I'm going to press math, and I'm going to press enter to take this answer and put it into fractional form. So if it comes back that it has decimals, this command will kick it into a fraction so that you can use fractions. So I press enter, and there's my answer matrix. And so I just want to copy this down here, grab a blue, and I just copy this down, 102019. All right, now that we have it down and we in the calculator has done it, we cross our fingers and hope to God it's right, because we can't check it until we're done. And by this time, we've spent a lot of time doing it. Now we have to read it. So I'm going to start with this upper equation. You'll notice that x's were in the first column, y's were in the second, answers were in the third. So if I follow this, these become the coefficients to those variables. So in this first one, we have 1x plus 0y is equal to 2. But that really just means, well, I have 1x for x. 0 times y is 0, so it's really just x is equal to 2. So that's what that this first row is telling us. And then next, this bottom row, that's telling us that we have 0 x's, we have 1 y, and that all equals 9. But 0 times x is 0, and so it just becomes y is equal to 9. Now these represent two lines in two space, and so that means on a plane, on a coordinate plane. And what we're hoping for is that these lines somehow are different enough that they cross at one point. Those values, that's that crossing point. And so it's an ordered pair. It describes the point. So this really is the ordered pair, and of course in blue and purple, everybody knows blue and purple makes green. And so our ordered pair is 2, 9. And that's the answer. That's the solution to that particular system of equations. All right, that's how you do it on the calculator. Anything else is just more involved. You may add rows and columns, but the command structures are identical. You just follow right along. I hope this helps. Take care.